So when I was 4 years old, there were checks solicited against my mom and my family. And even though my dad, Tom, never actually lived in Kimberly Meadows, it was checks that were given to people within Kimberly Meadows growing up. And these people shouldn't have been taking checks from him at all. So just like Aurelia, just like Emily, just like Cheryl, just like others who are well paid off to work within the syndicate, much like Jesse Lee, Stephen Meyer, and others who had been paid off to perform this crime over me, they shouldn't have been taking checks and taking money over life. You know what I'm saying? So personally, I don't remember how these all of the things happened because of the situation that I've been placed in, being poisoned as well. So if the police can't police that, and it's a cold and calculated murder and total erasure of my identity, and not only that, but my ability to use my integrity to go to work with my identity. So with that making sense, it's stalking me to see, you know, when my lights are on, when my lights are off, when I'm home, when I'm not, where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm trying to talk to, all of that. I believe including my own brother's current wife, Stephanie. So, frankly, there were a lot of witnesses that were made in my dad Tom Martin's behalf that weren't anything less than creating like an open air concentration camp for not only my mom's life but my life and my sister's life because these people needed to indemnify their crimes. So moving onward, I wholeheartedly believe and know for myself that Stephen Meyer was a part of the syndicate. You're not going to tell me someone's going to be okay with having someone walk into the apartment and poison up another individual, looking straight at them, square in the eyes, without being complicit within that crime. And so, just like Emily Dodge, for sure didn't just poison me up alone. She seemed fishy about it, like, and about the relationship in and of itself, being all hoity toity talking with Becky Murden, who's my sister in law, that they already knew each other before that Christmas. They already knew that the Christmas party was supposed to purport that me without somebody was just me not in a well made manner, when otherwise without the syndicate working in this behalf, I would have been way enabled to be able to do a whole lot more for my nieces and nephews than my own brothers wanted to create working within the syndicate, because it was all about covering and converting the tracks of what had happened to us as kids. Either both, I believe, but either their consciences were just so run into the ground by what happened that they became, uh, how would you say, they became like happy about that evil until they just weren't happy with that evil anymore. But then when they weren't happy with that evil anymore and they wanted to get away from it, they also couldn't get away from it, because it's much like trying to throw, say you're a good cop among 12 bad cops, and you catch 12 bad cops being bad cops. Well, who's going to lose their job? The 12 bad cops or the one good cop? The one good cop is going to lose their job. And so ultimately, I believed it to be really daunting to me that it was being stated the way it was, not to have a relationship around the kids unless it was a forever type of relationship, when that forever type of relationship that they allowed in to their own lives and into my life was designed by proxy by the same syndicate to create that party, so to speak, over my life, as though it was to set out to make me look like the bad guy in the hindsight through the headlights of other people and other people being my own nieces and nephews, my own family. And so it's messed up what they did to me. It's all connected for a slow erasure of me because my brothers knew verbatim that I was not going to stand for the abuse as it happened. They knew the fuck well that I didn't want to be a part of that, especially when I caught them when I was still in diapers as a kid and flopped to my butt as my reality went red. Like, how do you even explain that as a kid being poisoned up? Like, how would you think that you'd be able to explain that to somebody at 5 years old? Or I take it back, at like 4 years old or 3 years old. I think I was four, to tell you the truth. I'm just shell shocked by what they can't see and they can't take witness to, being the fact that they were abused as well, and within themselves having no accountability and unable to process their own emotions correctly about it. I don't think that they would have been siding with my father Tom if they didn't have it happen that way. If the things that I'm saying to be true didn't happen the way that they did happen. And so I think that they were psychologically like pushed in defense of my dad to get involved in that way in their childhood, for their childhood consciences to be completely ruined, mishandled, and then what they had been brought up into by my own dad is the inability to take that type of accountability out here at all. But the fact of the matter is the truth is going to come out before I end up being taken out or I end up being created into a false person that I'm not, you know, that type of thing. Because the fact of the matter is I'm not going to tolerate people who just want and rather need me dead to indemnify their heartless stakes on my identity and my life. When you don't have identity in the first place and it's identity theft plus identity erasure, that's leaving a person without the integral parts of what it takes to be their own self and live their own life. So I've been going through hell over here, just trying to get out all of the things that I have going on. And then reportedly, I should say that they're like, as soon as I was able to save myself from 800 to 1,000 attacks further on my phones and my internet and my computer and whatnot, all of a sudden there's that same van that's pulling past my house all ultra slow, going up, turning around and pulling out and stopping. And as soon as I go out to try and see who's in this car, they're gone. And I wanted to collect their license plates and everything because I wholeheartedly believe it has something to do with Jesse Lee and Johnny Lee and this syndicate that's working against me. No one needs to come in that fashion. You don't need to pull down at, what time was it? I'm going to say it was like, I don't know, 1 in the morning or 12:30 at night, 12:30 in the morning. Either way, it's really peculiar to me because I had these things happening, and I believe it was a Ford Windstar or something like that. That is the same van that I saw following me when I was in the cities doing Uber Eats. What they're trying to do is just make it not only psychologically abusive, but they're trying to game up my actual ability to perform my job, no matter what job I have. So if it's like working in a stationary place, it was getting someone involved to poison me up, and then it was getting someone involved to call up my boss or my owner and make it ultra hard for my boss or my owner to think, oh, I really want to help this guy out and put my life on the line. You see what I'm saying? No, people aren't like that. People will just, I mean, if I was a business owner and I didn't have these things going on inside of my life, I think I'd be the same way. Just let that person go in whichever way that we can get rid of him. So when you're facing foreclosure, it's important to talk to a local attorney and process out how it all works interstate and find out about your rights and options, right? But when you're ultimately trying to mitigate that process through all of these losses, it's really hard to do what you have to do in normal life, what you have to do in normal work, and then on top of it, you're being gamed up to where you can't work. And then just like these gig gap jobs, if they're uh, getting into it to where I can't legitimately take a picture, take a, get a scan of the barcode to like continue shopping an order per se, and it's my network that's being gamed up. They're not only costing me an extra 15, 20, 30 minutes per order just shopping, which is ultimately going to be to the discretion of how badly the customer wants that order or how badly they need it in a timely fashion, which most people need their orders on a time in a timely fashion. So then it ultimately hurts your tips, it hurts your time frame, and it hurts your job itself. Like psychologically, it hurts your ability to perform that job. And so this is why I need a lawyer. This is why I'm reaching out for pro bono help and pro bono support, because not only do I believe that this case is worth billions in and of itself because of how many places that it's affected me in my life, I believe anybody who's anybody would love to actually have this in their portfolio, being a new lawyer. So anyone from the Minnesota Bar Association, anyone that's just starting up to go to law school, to become a lawyer, have faith in yourself. Have a lot of monstrous faith in yourself to take up what I've been saying out here and getting yourself introduced to me so we can talk. The question that they wanted to create is all like an allopathic approach to health versus a holistic approach or a whole body approach, because you're not going to just target one thing and forget the others, especially when every single thing that I was going into the hospital about, or a good 90-95% of the things that I was going into the hospitals about, into emergency room support, was a very calculated poisoning of my body, a very me being an unwitting party to a very cold and calculated poisoning of my body and mind. So them to say if it was just diabetes that has gotten to my cellular level, that diabetes poisons your body in that type of way, but diabetes is created. You see, it's not something that I believe people need to continue to eat the way they're eating. They need to be on a diet and exercise, rigorous health kick, and they can get their body to respond better. But the part that you can't get your body to respond better on is a very cold and concerning calculated poisoning of my body. You know what I mean? So when it was happening from my own friend, and mind you, the whole time through this syndicate, in order to put up the fake, act like they're there for you. I'll help you with I'll help you with the leaves. If you ever need to use the van, you can use the van. Don't worry about your money. If you ever run into a time where you need a little bit of scratch, dude, I can cover you. None of these things were said to actually be purported to be able to be used. Because in the timeliest of fashion, yeah, I needed help with my leaves. I needed help with raking. I asked if I could use your van. And I even asked, well, you even said if I needed some scratch that you'd help me out. None of these things came through for me. And that is not a good friend. A good friend with true love and support for you isn't going to have to be questioned in the contents of their character, first of all. But if you're asking for their help, it's not going to be a question. It's going to be an answer. It's going to be a solution. And not to mention that, but anyone that truly loves you isn't going to be playing one face and then going behind your back and playing a total different face. So, excuse me. I've been tied to these things that have been ultimately trying to take my life apart. And if it was just diabetes, don't you think that my own brothers or these people could actually come and help me and support me instead of just, oh, it's all mental health, let's throw them under the bus? And the reason is because they need to indemnify their crimes. They need to covertly ruin my life in order to get away with their crimes that they've taken over onto my life. Their consciences gotta feel real nice. And that's a lie, obviously. Their consciences don't feel nice, is what I'm saying. But if it was like, this these people following me around, for an example, and it was like a beige or a gray or a light colored, some kind of Ford Windstar, Ford van looking thing. But if it was like Johnny Lee, Jesse Lee, specifically after getting the network of being a police officer, that after becoming a police officer, that I could actually get like 800 to 1200 things stopped every single day. And so they need to game up the network then in order to continuously hack it because I'm a cop. And so I don't really know what these fucks want to do about that, but they're just going to be running themselves into the ground the more that they try because their networks are going to bed with the devil. So another thing they do is they create different proxy made accounts to make it look like me, to suggest to, you know, psychologically mess with my mom on her phone, be in the background of her data. I mean, she's an elderly, and she's not only a vulnerable adult, but she's being made into that vulnerable adult, you see? Otherwise, I think that my mom is impeccable. I love my mom dearly. I love her. And furthermore, these people should have been there to support her and love her, not game up her reality. She's the one that bore my brothers, you know, and then them to be moving this way, like people don't think for themselves that that's just a little fishy. I mean, beyond fishy, but I mean, ultimately, people in the regular world with looking at my content, they wouldn't think to themselves that that's real fishy. You think that they would support the mother that's being run ragged by the father that would do this to his own children. Like, I'm sorry, but with me not having the corrective actions at 5 years old or 7 years old or 9, 10, 11, all of the ages where I'm being constricted with an unwitting poison, you don't think that that's hard to determine how to move? When you legitimately have love for your people and it's like the only thing that you know. You don't have much to compare it to. And then when you do start to compare it to what other people have, you're torn apart. You're like literally ripped to fucking shreds, man. Oh, like you had two parents helping you out, not doing these things, or didn't have one parent doing these things to you. You actually got help, G. Like, they bought you a car. They helped you like continue in your work, continue in your grind. Damn, G, you're lucky. You don't know how lucky you got it. So anyway, The reasons they do this isn't not only to psychologically affect my mother and affect their own mom, but the reasons they do this is to target their phone so that then when they come around, they use your hotspot. Now they can steal up my Facebook, they can steal up my Instagram, and they were going for my Gmail and my whole phone number yet again. And not only is that psychologically controlling my life, that's very physically controlling my life on many fronts. Not just the covert poisoning that they had already gotten to my body that's gotten me to move differently and shuffle my feet differently throughout the years, but it's getting me to move differently based on what's happening to me on my internet, my actual lines. And so I know for myself that I'm not a bad person, and anyone to suggest that I'm the one in the wrong based on all of these things happening to me the whole time is just wrong. They just don't have a collective mind frame to think these things through and realize that instead of me looking the way I look right now, all tired and haggard, that I would be out rollerblading and doing things that bring joy in my life and bring a smile to my face. And so, yeah, I want people to see these things for what they are because they really should be on my side to help support me and get me, you know, help me reach that blessing that I'm after. Don't help these people continuously work this crime over my life. And I don't care what the fucking amount of money is that they're willing to bring you. It's just not enough over somebody's life. Don't you think? I don't care if it's 55 grand. I don't care if it's 155 grand. I don't care if it's $1 million that they're offering you. It's just not enough. Not to mention that the money is just, what is it backed by anyway? Is it backed by your love life and you like getting to go to heaven or something? You get to pay your way into heaven? So I'm trying to stop not only like these attacks in my life in that fashion, but I'm trying to become a cop, a good cop. You see? Because without me back actually being able to back and support my own life in that fashion, and I don't have the backing from a bunch of people that should have my back, like actually working within the law, not as a syndicate, then yeah, I'm a better cop than all of you combined in one little lump sum. So I'm not trying to be isolated out here in that one little defense. I'm trying to actually take it out here to where people can see. Like, you remember Al Pacino? I can't remember in that movie, but he was blind. Um, Gosh, what's that movie called? Why does Dancing with the Wolves come to mind when it's like that guy that's uh gosh, I know the movie too, but I'm just thinking of a part of that movie where he's like I'm in the dark here. I'm in the dark because he was blind and like he was just super super duper depressed with every right to be and every reason to be like worse than what he turned out. He ended up doing the tango and all sorts of stuff. But see, I need that friend in my life that can support me to be me. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't see what I'm saying, then just, I don't know. What is that movie? Al Pacino. I'm going to find this out. I'll be right back. Scent of a Woman. That's that movie. It's with Al Pacino and he's like blind. And it's like he says, I'm in the dark here. I'm in the dark. Because he was blind. And I'm like him on like 86 other fronts because of my own brothers poisoning me in this proxy made relationship, one after another, after another, after another, and including my own love life. I'm in the dark because they've made me be in the dark. It's like a whole full blown eugenics plan or operation of a type to wipe me up all out of state of mind since I was a baby. Never allow me to see it for the truth. Never, ever, ever allow me to see it for the truth. And it's because I would think that if you're going to be friends with somebody, that they wouldn't have it in them to do this. I would think that if you had brothers that would actually support you, they would be there for you. They wouldn't be there coming after you, they would be there for you. So, just there's so many timestamps of like this crime that's happening to me that I'm looking out for help, and like if it's just not there and it just doesn't care, and at the same time it wears a badge and podunky works itself into criminal courts, then what is it for? You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying I'm a cop, and I'm a really good cop. So until next time, take it easy and thanks for being here. I really urge for your support here with what I have going on, being like, I believe, the number one crime of its type in a lot of history. So thanks for being here. Hopefully, me and you can make history somehow together. Peace out.